Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, my favorite show that I'm recording right now.
My favorite show that rhymes with Super Breakfast Friends Cub.
I'm Mike.
And I am not. Could you hear me crack my finger?
Oh yeah, always.
God damn it.
It's okay.
It's compulsive. I don't even notice when I do it.
It's just part of the ambience of this show.
Just cracking and popping.
Yeah, every now and then there's just one in the soundtrack, and I don't even notice them anymore.
Sometimes it's probably my knees or my body in general. My creaking body falling apart as you listen. Everyone's used to the fact that I'm an old bag of bones.
Let's play a theme song.
蝶になってきらめく風に乗って今すぐ君に会いに行こう余計なことなんて忘れた方がマシさこれ以上しゃれてる時間はない何がこの空に届くのだろうだけど明日の予定もわからない無限大な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうは愛しい思いも負けそうになるけどステージしかしないイメージだらけの頼りない翼でもきっと飛べるさ
So I love this theme song.
Me too.
It's probably my favorite anime opening song ever.
That's a bold claim.
It is. But I this is on my playlist. I listen to this all the time.
It's your waking up and get going music.
The lyrics are basically about having no idea what you're doing, but hoping that love will be enough to get you through. Which is pretty perfect for this show, which is a show about a group of kids who suddenly become parents, basically.
Yeah.
The song's by Koji Wada. This was his first single, and it remained his most popular single up until his death. That's not to say that his career wasn't successful after this, it's just that this song was very popular. I was actually surprised, back when the Wii U was current, there was a karaoke app on it called Wii Karaoke U, and this song was in the European song playlist, even though it's not in the European version of Digimon.
That just reminds me of the time I went to a karaoke bar and they had Escape from the City in the list.
I feel like that's pretty common, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, because they actually put out karaoke versions of the songs officially for Sonic Adventure 2.
So it's real easy.
Yeah, the soundtrack album actually comes with karaoke versions of all of the character themes plus Escape from the City and Live and Learn. So there's no work to do. So if you're paying attention to what karaoke versions are out there, it's pretty easy to get those ones.
Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind for the next karaoke party I throw.
Yeah, do Live and Learn.
I don't know the words to Live and Learn besides Live and Learn.
It's we'll watch Sonic X and then you'll learn it.
I'll live and learn it?
Yeah. Live and Learn is one of the best ones to sing along with. Live and Learn and Sonic Heroes are great Sonic songs to sing along with. Anyway, we're not supposed to be talking about Sonic right now.
I do sing Sonic Heroes all the time, and the only part I know is Sonic Heroes.
It's the only part you need to know.
Head.
Yeah. So, Digimon. Digital Monsters.
The show that is not Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I think this is our first time saying the name of the show that we're covering today. We already talked about Digimon, the virtual pet, quite extensively in our episode about the short film.
Also called Digimon.
Well, called Digimon Adventure, which this is also called.
Way to be pedantic about it.
So I'm not going to talk about the virtual pets, but I will talk about Digimon World, which was a PlayStation game released in 1999, 3 months before this show started airing. It was made by Bandai. The game was a pretty good interpretation of the virtual pets as an RPG. It works the virtual pet mechanics into an RPG, basically. The later games mostly leaned away from the virtual pet mechanics for something more accessible, where you need to invest less time to progress. Because the game is very dependent on like raising a strong monster before you go out and fight with it. So
the grind.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it for that reason. It made it unique, and I thought that was interesting. But I can see why they leaned away from it.
That's a big barrier to entry. I don't like games that start off grindy. That's why I never beat Earthbound.
Yeah. The reason I'm talking about this game is because the game, as far as I can tell, is the first mention of Fire Island, which is the setting for this show. And it's basically the most common setting for Digimon media in general. A lot of the games are set on Fire Island. The first, I think, 13 episodes of the show are set there. And the trading card game mentions it a lot too. It kind of became a big part of Digimon lore, and that game is the origin of it, as far as I can tell.
I keep thinking that you're mispronouncing Fire Island.
No, Fire Island.
So only slightly less gay.
I guess they'd be Romanized the same, though, right? Not
Probably.
Romanized. What's the word? When you turn them into kanji?
Digitized?
That doesn't seem right either.
I'm trying to keep on the theme of the show.
This show entered production when, after finishing the storyboards for the short film that we watched already, Bandai asked Toei to develop it further into an animated series as well. It's not immediately apparent from watching this, but that short film is within the continuity of this show.
I definitely understood a little bit better having watched the short film.
Okay, good. I didn't.
You already know everything about Digimon. You're already the Digimon master.
No, this episode was the first thing I ever saw of Digimon. Because I didn't see the short film until it was released in English as part of Digimon the movie. And that was, like, Digimon was into its second series by that point. These weren't even the main characters anymore. This episode aired on March 7th, 1999 on Fuji TV, one day after the short film premiered in theaters.
Ooh.
Fuji is the TV station that Doki Doki Panic was made as a promotion for. For anybody who doesn't know, Doki Doki Panic is the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, featuring a bunch of characters who were mascots for Fuji TV instead of Mario characters.
Slightly less lovable.
Yeah. They're also known for airing Dragon Ball, One Piece, Mazinger Z, Time Bokan, Fist of the North Star, Yu Yu Hakusho, Ranma 1/2, and a whole bunch of other classic anime. The show was animated by Toei Animation, who we've talked about before because they did Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. They also did the short film, so we talked about them then as well.
I was tormented by the fact that I couldn't remember the name of the series that Dai was from. I saw that replica sword, and I was like, I know what this is. I can read one of the words on this box, but I don't remember anything else about it.
Yeah, so Mel you went to the Sakura Festival?
Yeah, the Cherry Blossom Festival.
You saw a replica of Dai's sword.
Yeah.
It's weird that we've both had this experience now where we watched that show having never heard of it before, and now we've encountered it in the wild since.
And I got so excited. I'm like, oh, that's Dai's sword.
I don't think I would have recognized it, honestly.
I couldn't. I read the box.
Oh.
But it was in Japanese, so I could only read Dai.
Yeah, because I encountered the manga. I now have a copy of the manga, so when we go back and look at Adventure of Dai again, I'll be able to actually compare with the book now.
Wow. Look at us progressing our knowledge of the things that we should be knowing about.
Yeah. Digimon Adventure has 54 episodes in total. There's a common rumor that the show was planned as 13 episodes originally and then extended when it became popular. But Hiroyuki Kakudo, the director of the series, has said that it was originally planned as a year and then it was extended by a month, so an extra 4 episodes, I'm assuming. So it sounds like it was originally planned for 50 episodes and then they extended it by 4.
How can you tell a story that grand in 13 episodes?
Well, I think the reason that the rumor started is because the first arc of the series ends after 13 episodes and then a new storyline starts up.
Gotcha.
But it's not like it's wrapped up. There's a lot of open threads still after those 13 episodes. The kids are still trapped in the digital world. So.
Nah, they live there now. It's fine.
And also the weather, the crazy weather across the world that's mentioned at the beginning is never wrapped up in those 13 episodes. So seems pretty obvious to me that they had more.
Yeah. Something's still afoot.
Yeah. I really like the character designs this show has for the humans. They're really unique and stylized. They've all got big hands. They're mostly wearing gloves. They've got big feet.
Why are they all wearing gloves? They're just school children.
I know, it's just part of the style of it. I really like it. It's this is why I didn't like Digimon Adventure Try so much, because
they took the gloves off.
They took the gloves off. They made the kids all look a lot more generic. And I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize the art as Digimon anymore. I liked this unique look.
Mm-hmm.
Those character designs were created by Katsuyoshi Nakasuru, who is known mostly for being a character designer and animator on Dragon Ball. He also did both of those things for Dr. Slump, and he was an animator on One Piece as well. I guess probably still is. One Piece is still going.
One Piece will never stop.
No.
I'm pretty sure the Earth is going to be destroyed before One Piece stops airing.
I think I heard that the manga is coming to an end.
What?
Yeah, but I don't know how far behind the manga the show is.
Maybe they'll keep the show running, though. It'll just be a sad ghost of a series like The Simpsons.
And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the manga isn't coming to an end at all. I don't know. Anyway, this episode is called Adrift, the Island of Adventure.
Adrift where?
Who knows? There's no drifting, as far as I can tell.
Regular or Tokyo version.
It's written by Satoru Nishizono, who also is credited for series composition and character creation, so I'm assuming he basically planned out the entire show.
It sounds like his baby.
Yeah. He also wrote a lot for Naruto, Duel Masters, and Assassination Classroom, among a lot of other things. And the show opens with a narrator telling us that strange weather has been occurring throughout the world. There are droughts in Asia, floods in the Middle East, and freezing temperatures in America. You'd know something about that.
I would, but to me, freezing temperatures are underneath 60 degrees because I am a wiener and I will whine.
Yeah, freezing temperatures in America is strange because it's the middle of summer. Forgot to mention that part.
Yeah, they're all at a summer camp.
The show's narrator is Hiroaki Hirata, who also is the voice of Leomon later in the show. He's Sanji in One Piece. He's Alan in Xenosaga. He's Jack Sparrow in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts. He's Caliburn in Sonic and the Black Knight. That's the sword that Sonic has.
Oh,
Yeah.
the talking sword.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, that sword can talk. I think a lot of people just know that Sonic has a sword in that game. I don't think many people know that it's a talking sword.
I certainly didn't know until you just told me he had a voice actor.
Yeah. He was also the narrator in Kamen Rider Wizard. He plays Lindo in God Eater. I don't remember who that is. I don't know, you might.
No, I don't remember.
He plays Klein in Sword Art Online. And this is a spoiler for the very end of Digimon Adventure 02, the second Digimon show. So if you don't want to know about that, just kind of plug your ears and go la 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 for a sec.
Hum the Digimon theme song.
But in the final episode of Digimon Adventure 02, this narrator is revealed to have been Takeru as an adult, writing his memoirs about his time in the digital world.
What?
Yeah, it's a kind of a cool twist. Like, they went 2 full shows of that apparently being the case before revealing it. I mean, I'm sure they just came up with it at the last. I'm sure they didn't plan it all along, but you know.
Right.
There's no equivalent to the narrator in English. There is no English narrator.
Oh.
The narrator at the beginning is provided by Taichi instead in the English version, or Tai as they call him in English.
So I'm guessing they really didn't know.
No. The English dub suffers a lot from the writers not looking ahead at what was going to happen. Even at things that they could have known by the time, you know?
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we talk about the dub at the end, but there are a lot of things said in this episode and contradicted down the line.
Oh no.
Our focus is on a group of Japanese kids at summer camp. We see Taichi napping in a tree, and he gets woken up by a single snowflake landing on his cheek. Taichi Yagami, I feel like we don't really need to talk about because we covered his actor in our episode on the short film. So go watch that if you want to know about Taichi. But we've also talked about the actor in our episode on Adventures of Dai because it's the same woman who played Dai also plays Taichi.
Whoa.
The second child we're introduced to is Sora Takanouchi, who is played by Yuko Mizutani. We've talked about her before as well, because she played Fumu and Bun's mother Memu in the Kirby anime.
That is a character I never would have remembered in 1,000 years.
No, she's named Ladylike in the English version.
Ladylike.
In English, Sora is played by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who is the current official voice of Tails and Charmy Bee in the Sonic the Hedgehog series. She's also the only actor from the Sonic games to reprise her role in the Sonic movies. She also played Danny's sister Jazz in Danny Phantom. She played Ino in Naruto, and she played Genis in Tales of Symphonia. And the next child is Yamato Ishida, who's played by Yuto Kazama, who is also the voice of Mega Man Zero, as in Zero, the character from Mega Man. And he played Tabitha in Pokemon Advanced.
In Pokemon Advance?
Yeah, in Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh, right. Tabitha. She's the old lady, right?
No, Tabitha is a man.
Tabitha's a man. Oh! That's right!
He's a Team Magma grunt. Or admin, I guess.
Right. I was thinking who are the old lady gym or Elite Four? Agatha and Bertha?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That's why.
Yeah. In English, Yamato is named Matt and is played by Michael Rice, who seems to be best known as a writer for Boston Legal. But he also plays Mizuki in Naruto. He played Wedge and Landfill in the 2001 Transformers show. And he played Leonardo in Power Rangers in Space.
Nice.
That is Leonardo the Ninja Turtle
Oh, I knew who you meant.
And yes, I did say Power Rangers, not Ninja Turtles.
I know. I follow, and I'm in for it.
Next, we have Koshiro Izumi, who is played by Umi Tenjin. Mostly known for this, but also played Koltopi in Hunter x Hunter and Akane in Summon Night. In English, Koshiro Izumi is known as Izzy, and is played by Mona Marshall, who is an extremely prolific voice in animation, but mostly as additional voices. You would know her voice. It's a very recognizable voice. She's also the voice of Doraemon in English. She played Inari in Naruto. She played Kite in Dot Hack. She played Shu in Blue Dragon. She played Beat in Eternal Sonata. And she apparently does most of the female voices on South Park.
Okay.
Then we have Mimi Tachikawa, who is played by Ai Maeda, who played Shion in Xenosaga, Oichi in Samurai Warriors. She was Pluto in Sailor Moon Crystal. And she's a musician under the name AIM, A-I-M, lowercase I.
Interesting. Is that to differentiate it from the now extinct instant messenger?
Yes, I assumed it must be. I can't think of any other possibility. She also performed the ending song for this show. In English, she's played by Phyllis Sampler, who apparently first became famous playing Renee Dumond in Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
She's also the voice of Goten in Dragon Ball Super. She played Betty Ross in a 90s Hulk animated series. She is Toph in Legend of Korra and Yuki in Rune Factory 5.
Oh, right.
Do you know Yuki?
I'm pretty sure Yuki's the old lady.
That would make sense. She was an old lady by then. Then we have Takeru Takaishi, played by Hiroko Konishi, who played Roll in Mega Man 8, Lilith in a couple of Darkstalkers games, and Bridget in Guilty Gear. In English, Takeru is played by Wendy Lee, who was Bulma in Dragon Ball, Faye Valentine in Cowboy Bebop, Black Rose in Dot Hack, Athena in Ace Attorney, Trish in Devil May Cry 5, Akane in Danganronpa 2, and Alpha 6 in Power Rangers. I don't know Alpha 6. I know Alpha 5.
Well, he comes after.
Yeah, apparently that is accurate. I looked him up. For anyone who doesn't remember Power Rangers so clearly, Alpha 5 was the robot who says I a lot.
I don't remember the Power Rangers at all.
Yes, you do.
Not really. Like, I was 5 when I watched the Power Rangers. I was obsessed with them at the time.
Oh, I know.
But that was a long time ago.
And our final kid is Joe Kido, played by Masami Kikuchi, who I don't need to talk about because we talked about him in our episode on the Sonic OVA. He was the voice of Sonic.
Whoa!
In English, he's played by Michael Lindsay, who played Kisuke in Bleach and Kankuro in Naruto. And that's all I wrote down.
That's all he ever did.
That's a lot of voices.
We're not even halfway done.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. I'm gonna have some trouble following along with this because they gave us way too many names at once, and I have no idea who's who.
Understandable. I'm assuming that you know which one is Taichi at least.
Yes.
We're familiar with Taichi already.
I guess I know Taichi and the girls, but I don't know any of the others.
Okay. To give a rundown, because this is all information we're given at this point, we're told all of their names, and then we're told specifically what grade and school they go to. At Odaiba Elementary School, Joe is in the 6th grade, Taichi, Sora, and Matt are in the 5th grade, and Koshiro and Mimi are in the 4th grade. But Takeru is in the 2nd grade at Kawada Elementary instead. It might not seem important, but what grades they're in and what classes they're in and what schools they go to plays heavily into the group dynamic as the show goes on. So basically what you need to know is Joe is the oldest. Taichi, Sora, and Matt are all the same age and in the same class. Koshiro and Mimi are a little bit younger and are in the same class. And Takeru is younger than all of them and goes to a different school. So they don't know this kid.
Oh, they don't know him at all?
One of them does.
Okay, because it seems kind of obvious that there's a brother dynamic, but I was like, am I projecting? Is this not real?
Yeah, we'll get into that. So a blizzard starts, and all the adults start herding kids inside, but our group of kids are separated from the adults right now. So they just hide in a shrine that I guess they're near to. I think the show does a pretty good job of telling us who they all are, personality-wise, right away. Just through their reactions to the snow.
Yeah.
Because Taichi and Takeru just want to play in it. Yamato is just concerned about Takeru. Joe is immediately urging everyone to head back to where the adults are. Koshiro doesn't even head outside. He just wants to get his laptop back online.
I mean, I would be concerned that snow would ruin my laptop.
He's got his laptop hooked up to a cell phone, and he's trying to use that to connect to the internet.
Gonna download all of cyberspace from my Nokia.
Not so much in this episode, but this show in general is very much like a time capsule. I feel like I talked about it when we looked at the short. Like going back and looking at this show and seeing all the technology that at the time was very current and is now very outdated. Like the idea of using a cell phone to connect to the internet back then. It's like, whoa, you can get a cable and then use your cell phone to dial up to the internet? Wow.
To be fair, I have done that. I've tethered my laptop to my cell phone data.
But I'm assuming you did that wirelessly.
Yes.
And not with a cable. And I'm assuming you weren't using that cell phone to dial the internet.
No. I was using my cell phone so I could play Team Fortress.
Oh, what a good time.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. both Team Fortress and the internet. Taichi calls Koshiro outside to see an aurora that's appeared.
Whoa!
And Koshiro runs over to play the Superintendent Chalmers in this situation.
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
And as Koshiro tells them about how they shouldn't be able to see Aurora Borealis in Japan, suddenly a light appears in the sky, and meteors just suddenly rain down on the kids, willy-nilly.
Yeah, laser beams just shoot down, narrowly missing.
Yeah, it's pretty violent.
They're all shocked they survived.
Yeah. Then the meteors that landed in the snow start glowing, and funny bubbles rise up out of them, and the kids catch them all, and it's Digimon virtual pets.
Wow! A Tamagotchi!
The design of these isn't based on any particular existing Digimon that you could buy, but versions that look like this were released to tie in with the show.
I would assume so.
Yeah, they call them Digivices. I'm not sure if that word is ever used in this episode, but it's used later. And then the kids suddenly get swept up in some water and isekai'd.
Oh yeah. I forgot that a tidal wave just kind of appears.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever explained. It's established later on that there is, like, a gate to the digital world here, but it's never explained why. Most of the time, gates to the digital world take the form of computers or, you know, some kind of data.
The TV in the movie.
Yeah. Well, it was a computer monitor, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It was a monitor.
It was, yeah. Yeah, here they're just up in the mountains. I don't know why there's a gate here.
Because of the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, right.
That's it?
No.
The tidal wave is Skinner saying no.
So after a trippy Windows screensaver that we get sent through, Taichi wakes up in the jungle with Koromon sitting on his chest. Koromon is super excited to see him, but Taichi does not remember Koromon.
See, that part didn't immediately translate to me because it seems that all of the digital monsters are super familiar with their human counterparts already.
Yes, and I actually think that at this point, Koromon also doesn't remember what happened in the short film, though it isn't super clear. For a long time, people weren't sure if this was even supposed to be the same Koromon from the
Mhm.
short film, but it has been confirmed since that this is that same Koromon. So,
This is that same mindless killer that stalked the streets.
yeah, well, he's better now. So we covered Koromon's Japanese voice when we looked at the short film, though in English, Koromon is not played by the person who normally plays him here. So whoever played Koromon in this episode, in the English version, is not credited, but it's not the normal person. It seems to be MJ Lalo, whose only other credit that I could find was playing Goner in something called Daddy, I'm a Zombie.
All right.
So I don't know how accurate that is, but take it as you wish. So Koshiro arrives with his own Digimon, Mochimon. Mochimon is played by Takahiro Sakurai, who we've talked about a couple times, because he also played Leon in Danganronpa
Oh, right.
and Lan Di in Shenmue.
Oh, right.
It's really funny to me that the voice of Lan Di is this little pink puffy man.
I know. He's so cute. So cute and so dangerous.
Yeah. In English, Motimon, because he's called Mochimon in Japan, but in English he's called Motimon. And he's played by Joshua Seth, who also plays Tai. Mochimon is a second generation Digimon. He's the baby form on the first of the Pendulum virtual pets, which were the most current ones when the show started airing. Most of the Digimon that the kids have are first generation ones. This is the first example of a second generation one creeping in.
What makes him so special that he gets a fancy second generation Pokemon?
He's the smart kid.
I guess.
I mean, if they were buying these Digimon virtual pets, Koshiro is absolutely the one who would have the newest state-of-the-art one.
That's true.
He's the kid who brought a laptop to summer camp.
That would be me.
See, bringing a laptop to summer camp now wouldn't feel so strange. But back then, laptops weren't that common. It's 1999.
That's true. I wouldn't have had a laptop, but if I did, I would have brought one to summer camp.
Yeah, same. So Mochimon explains that they are on File Island. Taichi has no idea what that means. He climbs a tree and uses his handy spyglass to look around and spots a bunch of unfamiliar mountains on the horizon. And then a giant bug in the sky.
He doesn't realize how giant until it's there, chopping the tree apart.
Yeah, this is Kuwagamon, who attacks them immediately. Koromon spit bubble. It ain't do a thing.
I can't see why.
That's pretty much all Koromon can do.
That's all any of the babies can do.
That is, yeah, that's pretty much the only attack that any baby Digimon has. This is an in-game thing too. But Mochimon leads everyone into a fake tree that they can hide in. Koshiro hesitates when Mochimon disappears into it, and then Taichi just grabs him and drags him in. There's a lot of little touches in the animation like that which tell us about the characters' personalities, and I think that's nice. That's Toei doing some real good animation work.
You're such a nerd.
I am. Toei are like one of my favorite studios. They did the opening and ending animations for Sonic CD, and
Those are pretty
I
good.
freaking love those. I mean, they did Dragon Ball too.
If you want to talk about something less cool, they did Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they did Sailor Moon. They're pretty great all around. They're a really good studio. So Kuwagamon passes, and then they hear Sora calling them from outside the tree, saying it's safe to come out now. And she's also got a Digimon following her. You may be noticing a pattern here.
What could it be?
She has Pyokomon, who is played by Atori Shigematsu, who only really did this. In English, she is played by Tiffany Kristen, who is the daughter of Haim Saban? Mr. Saban, founder of Saban Entertainment, the people who dubbed this show.
Oh,
You might think this is some nepotism.
you'd be right.
She also goes on to play Yole in the Adventure Zero 2 dub. Not a whole lot else. Pyokomon is another second-generation Digimon, but in this case, the virtual pet containing Pyokomon hadn't been released yet.
Whoa.
So this is Pyokomon making its first appearance. Although its evolved form, Pyomon, is a first-gen Digimon. So Pyokomon is the only Digimon in this show who's making their first appearance.
That's weird. I
It
guess
is
it's
weird.
just like adding a baby form.
The thing is, most of the kids have first-generation Digimon, but several of them originally came from the same baby form.
Mm-hmm.
So originally, you would get Tanemon, the one with the big leaf on its head that Mimi has later.
Mm-hmm.
And that could evolve into either Palmon or Pyomon, which are Sora and Mimi's Digimon. So they wanted each of the kids to have a unique Digimon at every stage, so they just kind of created a new baby for Sora to have. Yeah, I get it. And Digimon are pretty, they fluctuate a lot with what they can turn into.
Yeah, they switching back and forth. They got branching evolutions, and then they just go backwards.
Yeah, like every single Digimon has a branched evolution, except the baby forms, but we don't see any of those here. We have seen Koramon's baby form in the short film. We saw Botamon.
Yeah, that little poot.
Yeah, it's just like a little black bear's head.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see any of the other baby forms yet. I think we see them all eventually. That's not yet.
Are they significantly different?
Some of them. Yeah. Like Mochimon's baby form is a little green puddle with bubbles rising from it.
That's my current form.
Now Tokomon appears, followed by Takeru. Tokomon is played by Miwa Matsumoto, who played Chiharu in Cardcaptors, known as Chelsea in the dub, for any Cardcaptors dub-only fans.
Like they'd be listening to this show.
In English, Tokomon is played by Laura Summer, who was the voice of Janine in Real Ghostbusters. You know, the receptionist.
Yeah.
That surprised me. She also played Mimi in Hello Kitty's Paradise, apparently.
Ooh.
Bringing up the rear behind Takeru is Yamato, who has another Digimon under his arm. This is Tsunomon, played by Mayumi Yamaguchi, who played Envy in Full Metal Alchemist, Dingo in Mega Man Battle Network, and Yuichi in Paranoia Agent.
I don't remember that show. I need to watch it again. Since the last time we talked about it, I think about it constantly. I haven't put it on.
I've still never seen it. I threw that name in just in case it rang a bell for you.
Well, the anime rang a bell.
Oh, good. That's something.
No, it's been like 15 years since I watched it. I can't remember anything.
In English, Tsunomon is played by Kirk Thornton, a name I was familiar with, and you will be too.
Tell me.
He is the current voice of Shadow the Hedgehog and Orbot in Sonic the Hedgehog. He played Don Patch in Bobobo Bobobo. He was Klein in Sword Art Online. He plays Sykes in Kingdom Hearts. That's one of the Organization 13 members, I guess. I never remember which one's which.
Sayix?
Sayix? Yeah, there we go. I don't know how you say X.
Boo.
He played Kisame in Naruto. He played Guile in a couple of Street Fighter dubs. He was Orca in Dot Hack, and he played Superman in DC Universe Online. That's a pretty big and varied career.
Yeah, I was really going to try to act like I didn't know who any of those characters were, but you really got me with Don Patch.
Oh, I know. That's why I put him second. Did we watched Bobobo in English, right?
Yes.
Yes, we watched the dub. So
did.
I'm familiar with his voice too. Here comes Joe, and he's running scared from his Digimon. I love that he's the only one who's terrified by his own Digimon.
by this adorable, friendly little creature.
Yeah, Pukamon. Pukamon is played by Junko Takeuchi, best known as the voice of Naruto.
Never heard of him.
She also played Red in Pokemon Origins and Hapu in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Apparently, she's also the Japanese dub voice of Gumball from The Amazing World of Gumball. She also played Giggle McDimples in Toy Story 4.
Giggle McDimples.
And she played Assistant Mayor Bellwether in Zootopia. So that's a pretty decent wide range of different characters.
Yeah.
I would say probably the one that comes closest to Pukamon in personality is Gumball. In English, Pukamon is called Bukamon and is played by R. Martin Klein, who was the voice of Maru in Blue Dragon and Flint in Flint the Time Detective. We're almost through all the voices, I promise. So the Digimon finally tell the kids what a Digimon is, and then we get an act break, where cards of the babies are shown, and then they all combine into a card of the child forms. And then childs of the card form are shown. And they evolve into the big adult form. Yay.
The big mess.
Good.
We've done it.
When we come back, the Digimon introduce themselves one by one, and then Taichi introduces the kids one by one.
僕コラモンツノモンです横モンだよ
わてもちもんでんがな
深モンだよわ僕どこモン
Oh my god. 50% of this episode's runtime is just the names of things.
I know, this felt unnecessary, because I know we just had an ad break, but pretty much the entire first half of the episode is dedicated to telling us the names of characters. So,
Yeah.
and we get this recap of all of them.
It's very weird because we, the audience, have already learned the names of all the kids, and I assume all of the Digimon have learned the names of the kids because most of them are already well acquainted,
Yeah, it seems like they'd all met,
except for Joe.
except for Joe, who had spent the entire time running. So Taichi gets through all the kids from his school, but then he reaches Takeru and has no idea who this one is. So Takeru takes over and introduces himself.
それから
タケル高石タケル
Sora notices someone is missing, and Koshiro realizes Mimi from his class isn't there. And Joe says he has something to give her. We don't find out in this episode what it is.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that part happening.
Yeah, I can tell you now what it is, because we find out in the next episode. But
Do it.
this bag that Joe is carrying is the emergency rations and medical supplies bag. And today is Mimi's turn to look after it. But she has not picked it up, so Joe is carrying it and trying to give it to her. Suddenly they're interrupted by Mimi screaming in the distance. She's being chased by Kuwagamon now, along with her own Digimon, Tanemon. Tanemon is played by Kinoko Yamada, who mostly just did this. She also played Jinko in an anime called It Started With a Kiss. I don't know what that is.
I've never heard of it.
Nope. In English, Tanemon is played by Anna Garduno, who played Harley Hoover in Tonde Burin. She played Coco in Crash Bash, only in Crash Bash, and she played Kira in Jack and Daxter. I don't know jack about Daxter.
I played the first one.
I played a demo of the first one.
Don't remember it.
No.
But I also don't remember Ratchet and Clank, and I would like to remember it because the first one was really fun.
Ratchet and Clank is better than Jack and Daxter. I'm going to put that out there right now. Ratchet and Clank is the superior Jack and Daxter.
I don't think that's a controversial take. Maybe to Jack and Daxter fans.
I would say, personally, that in every era, I want to say of both studios, yeah, in every era of both studios, I prefer the Insomniac games over the Naughty Dog games. Spyro's better than Crash. Ratchet and Clank are better than Jack and Daxter. What are Insomniac doing right now?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But it's probably better than The Last of Us. And I really like The Last of Us. I never played the second one. I should clarify that. I really like the first Last of Us, the only one I've played.
So the second to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
There's Laster.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Taichi wants to stand and fight Kuwagamon, but the others talk some sense into him and they keep running.
Because we have seen this thing raise an entire forest by just passing over it.
Yeah. They end up cornered on a cliff edge, though. And the Digimon try to protect the kids by throwing themselves fruitlessly at Kuwagamon.
They spit bubble.
I guess it kind of works. He crashes into the bushes.
True.
But all the Digimon are just kind of wiped out on the ground. And as the kids worry about their Digimon, Kuwagamon just gets back up and starts heading towards them.
Now I'm slightly damp.
The Digimon insist on fighting, but the kids try to hold them back. But they all struggle free and charge anyway.
Yeah, they've got the blood rage. They hear the call of battle. They can't resist.
We get lots of shots of the kids just kind of doing the same thing one after another in this episode.
もちもん
津田マン
タコマン
カモン
タネモンコロモ
Yeah.
Which is a lot because there are 7 of them.
It was a very long scene.
Yeah, there's a few scenes like that. The show gets better about that as it goes on. This episode is it's a bit of a struggle.
It's a hard first episode to get through.
Yeah, there are 14 characters being introduced to us at once here. And I thought Danganronpa had too many characters at once, but this is even more than that.
Yeah, no. I've retained about 4 of their names, and it's going to take me pretty much the entire series to remember all of them.
You know, I've watched this whole show in both languages, so I'm very familiar with these characters, and it's still a struggle for me in this first episode. The Digivices all start glowing, and a beam from light from the heavens hits the Digimon. They've been blessed by God's will.
And then the best song ever plays.
Yeah, as they begin to evolve, the song Braveheart starts to play. This is also by Koji Wada.
横門進化ヨモン
もちもん進化テントモンスノモン進化ダブモン
横門進化パタモンカモン進化ゴマモン
Then we sit through a lot of evolution happening.
Yeah, one right after the other we have to watch.
Yep, 7 of them. Koromon becomes Agumon, Pyokomon becomes Piomon, Motimon becomes Tentomon, Sunamon becomes Gabumon, Tokomon becomes Patamon, Hukamon becomes Gomamon, and Tanemon becomes Palmon.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. They just gave us 7 more names we have to remember.
I know. To be fair, you only really have to remember these 7. The previous 7 will not really ever matter again.
They're dead.
Yeah, I had to look up the names of Sunamon and what are the ones I remembered? It's probably quicker to say the ones I remembered of the baby forms. I knew Koromon. So in Japanese, they all keep the same voice actors. But in English, I have some more actors I have to talk about.
No!
Because now that they've
No!
evolved, Agumon and Tentomon get new voice actors.
Okay, as long as it's only 2 of them.
It's only 2 of them, luckily. So, in the dub, Agumon is now played by Tom Fan, who wasn't known for a whole lot. It seemed to be a lot of additional voices. He was a few Monsters of the Week in some of the early Power Rangers shows. He's apparently well known for playing Sho in Guyver. I've never seen Guyver. I've barely heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tentomon is played by Jeff Nimoy, who wrote, directed, and story edited the dub. So we have him to thank for the inconsistencies. But, you know, I do like his work on this dub. Inconsistencies aside, it's not badly written. We've
No.
seen worse.
Some things you can't truly account for until a series ends.
Yes. He also wrote for Bobobo, so we've seen his work there as
Excellent.
well.
Decadent.
And he also apparently wrote for the Stitch anime. Did you know there was a Stitch anime?
I did not know there was a Stitch anime.
Yes, there's a Stitch of Lilo and Stitch anime. It's wild. It's basically an alternate take on the story where Stitch crash lands in one of the Japanese islands instead of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And meets a Japanese girl instead of Lilo.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it, but just the fact that exists is crazy, I think.
It boggles the mind.
It sure does. So, Digimon the virtual pets don't evolve backwards. But in the show, they frequently evolve backwards when they're tired. Usually, the forms they have just turned into are the forms that they will be in for most of the show. But occasionally, when they're very tired, they will revert back to the baby forms and sometimes to an even earlier form if they're super tired. So this isn't the last we'll see of Koromon and Tokumon and those guys, but don't expect a lot of them going forward.
So some of them revert back to their poot form?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow.
It usually takes like something real severe to get them to revert back to poot, though. I can only think of like maybe 1 or 2 times that it happens. So now that they're in their child forms, or rookie forms as they're called in English, because they got to make it sound more serious.
Yeah, we got to sell it to the little boys.
Yeah, so the poot form and the baby form are just called baby 1 and 2 in Japanese. In English, I think the first one is called baby and the second one is called in training.
In training.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to start calling toddlers.
And then the next form is the child form, which is what we just achieved. In English, that's the rookie form. Then that's followed by the adult form, which in English is called the champion form. So they really wanted to make it feel more
extreme.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the Digimon all fight Kuwagamon together, showcasing each of their new special moves. Except Gomamon.
Which one is he? What did he do?
I don't know if you picked up on that, but all the others use a special attack, which they announce.
Uh-huh.
But Gomamon instead just trips Kuwagamon. He just, like, rams into his foot.
Yeah.
Which makes him fall down. There's a reason for this.
Oh.
Gomamon's special move is Marching Fishes, and it requires nearby water to summon fishes from.
They were by water. They were on a cliff. Just have the fish jump up real high.
No, they can't jump that high. They're marching.
Magikarp could jump that high.
Yeah, but these aren't Magikarps, Mel. This isn't Pokemon's.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% positive. I've
I
looked
don't
ahead.
know.
I've looked ahead in the series.
Okay.
There isn't a single
Take
Rattata.
your word for it. Not even one in the top percent?
No, none. Not even in the bottom percent.
Oh.
And those things can live everywhere. So, it says so in the Pokédex.
Yeah, but they're not in Paldea.
Holy shit. You just cracked the lore.
You're telling me that there's gaps in the Pokédex?
Oh, maybe the DLC will bring them back.
No more Rattata. I love Rattata, but I don't want to see another Raticate for as long as I live.
Not even an Alolan one?
I hate the Alolan one.
Oh, I like the Alolan one more.
No, he's the worst.
He's so tubby. I think that's what I called my one. Or he's like Mr. Tubbs or something, I forget.
Mr. Tubbs.
So they set fire to Kuwagamon.
And he runs off into a lush forest.
Or he just falls down, I think. I think he just collapses into the bushes
backwards
on fire. And all the kids start celebrating with their new Digimon. But Kuwagamon comes back and stabs the ground with his, what are they, claws, pincers?
Beak. His bug beak.
With his bug beak. And the cliff edge breaks off and all the kids tumble down towards the river below. The
And then
end.
they die.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
Digimon, digital monsters.
Not yet. In a minute. The ending song is I Wish by Aim, the woman who plays Mimi.
Whoa!
星に願いを風にプライド乗せた時今日が消せない明日が見えるよきっとね
It's fine.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's not as good as the intro.
No, it's kind of dull, but whatever. The preview for next time shows us that we're going to see Agumon become his adult form, Greymon, which is a spoiler. And then that's the end.
Wow.
Should we talk about the dub?
Let's do it.
Here's the theme song.
I feel like it's kind of the opposite of Pokemon in that the Japanese version is very, very much better. But the English one is just still so catchy.
I know. I like the dub theme. It's nowhere near the level of love that I have for the Japanese one. The Japanese one is a song that I will just listen to, independent of the show, because it's a genuinely really good song. The English one, I would listen to an instrumental of, independently of the show, I think. But the lyrics... the lyrics bring it down for me. The lyrics put it firmly in the category of, I will listen to this... You know, if I'm putting the show on, I'm not going to skip the opening theme.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to, like, sit and listen to this in my off hours, you know?
I put it in the category of, this song will get stuck in my head at random intervals and it will drive me insane. I will not enjoy it.
Yeah, it's those repetitive lyrics. It's that thing, you know, there's that thing where they're like, if you want kids to remember your product, you've got to repeat the name a lot. And they really took that to heart for this song.
They sure did.
They took it too far. So the dub has a lot of changes. A lot of changes. It adds a lot of puns. It's kind of notorious for that.
I mean, who am I to turn down a good pun?
Usually I don't like it when a show does that, but Digimon does it with enough charm that I can't hate this dub.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the Japanese version. I think the thing is, the Japanese version, in my opinion, I'm talking about the show as a whole here, not this episode. The Japanese version is a really good story that touches on a lot of very mature themes for the audience that it's made for. As much charm as the dub has and as fun as it is, I think that in the process of making the dub as funny as it is, they stepped on a lot of what was great about the original, I think.
Yeah.
But I still like it. I still like the dub. The kids' names have been Americanized, but not exactly changed, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So Taichi Yagami, I think we talked about this when we talked about the short film, but Taichi Yagami has been changed to Tai Kamiya for reasons I don't know. The prevailing theory that I've seen online, which I have seen no evidence for, is that they changed Yagami because if you write Yagami backwards, it spells I'm a gay.
Oh no.
I don't know if that's true. But you can get to Kamiya basically just by like rearranging the kanji for Yagami.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's what they did. Sora, Mimi, and Joe stay the same. They just spelled Joe the English way. But, you know, it's pronounced the same anyway, so who cares? Yamato has been shortened to Matt. So they just call him Matt now.
It's in the original name. They just extracted it.
Yeah, that's true. Takeru's name is the same, but he now goes by the nickname TK.
I hate it.
Koshiro has the same name technically, but he also goes by a nickname. And it feels like the biggest change because everyone else still goes by their first name, even if it's shortened or it's a nickname for it. But Koshiro now goes by Izzy, which comes from his family name, Izumi. It's like not a change, but it feels like a change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the Digimon have some minor name changes, which I think is mostly to get away from kids making jokes about the names.
Like what?
Piomon becomes Biomon to get the P out of there.
Yeah, but now you're talking about B.O.
I know. And Pukamon becomes Bukamon, probably to get away from puke.
But not poo.
And Pyokomon is now Yokomon. That might just be so that kids can pronounce it easier. But then they didn't change Sunomon, spelled T-S-U. Like, I had no idea how to pronounce that when I was younger.
Tasuno.
Like I said, Tai introduces the episode instead of a narrator. He talks over, you know, when the characters first appear and their names are shown underneath, when the kids first show up. He talks over each of those, and I kind of got mad at him. Because it's like the worst commentary.
This is Sora. She's okay for a girl.
Oh, it's so 90s.
Yeah. One of the biggest changes to this episode is that the characters have been rewritten to be strangers.
Oh.
I guess they did this to align more with the American summer camp experience, where you'd be going to camp and meet a bunch of new people that you only know from camp. I think you see that the most when, in the part where Tai is calling out for Koshiro to come join them to look at the aurora. In the dub, he's like,
Hey, what's your name? Izzy! Come on out here, you gotta see this!
This becomes awkward later on in the series when they return to Japan and we find out Tai and Izzy have been best friends for a long time. Like, Tai's mom knows Izzy, but apparently Tai didn't.
It's the effect of the aurora borealis. It stole my mind.
Yeah, so in the original, Taichi already knows all of the kids except for Takeru because they all go to the same school and like half of them are in the same class.
Right.
At the very beginning of the show, when we first see TK, Tai introduces him directly as
Matt's dopey little brother.
He doesn't know this yet in the original show.
There's no subtlety.
Taichi and Koshiro actually spend episode 2, the whole of episode 2, speculating about how Yamato and Takeru know each other. Because it's clear that they know each other, it's clear that they're close and have some kind of bond. But the rest of these kids know Yamato from school, and they've never heard of him having a brother, and these two kids have different family names. So they're like, are they cousins? Maybe they're cousins or something? And it's not until episode 3 that Yamato explains to Taichi that Takeru goes to a different school and has a different family name because their parents divorced and took one child each.
Mm.
And that's, you know, it's a big part of the character development for those characters that is just not present in the dub.
Just shredded to pieces.
Yeah, in the dub they just know that TK is Matt's little brother from the start, and they just kind of don't touch on... I mean, they do touch on like the divorce stuff and the split family and everything later on when they're forced to.
Mhm.
But at this point, they just they do it, but they don't do it with the same subtlety that the Japanese one did. I mean, I say subtlety. I feel like to the audience, it's clear, even in the original, that there's a, like you said, there's a clear like brotherly bond going on there.
It's pretty obvious. A stranger wouldn't be that overprotective.
Exactly, yeah. But it's that overprotectiveness that confuses the other kids because they've known Yamato for a while and they've never seen him to have a brother.
Mm-hmm.
And also they have different family names, which I feel like, although we do see that they have different family names in the dub when their names are shown on screen at the beginning, it's never really highlighted to where I didn't realize it until I watched the original.
Yeah, because they're all familiar with each other, so they use each other's first names.
Yeah, except in the original, Taichi doesn't use any name for Takara because he doesn't know who he is. He gets to him in the introductions and he's just like, oh, and this is... When they come out and look at the aurora, in the dub, Izzy says that Aurora Borealis is visible in Alaska and they're too far south to see it, which implies they're in America, right? If they're south from Alaska?
Not necessarily. I mean, technically Japan is further south than Alaska.
But why would he mention Alaska specifically?
I don't know, because American children have never heard about any other country.
I thought it was strange because it felt like it implied that they were in the US.
That could be what they were trying to do.
But they retained all the Japanese names.
We have Japanese people, Mike.
That many in one camp? Is this a segregation camp? What's going on?
Maybe it's a Japanese language camp, and they are getting connected with their roots.
Maybe. Later on in the show, though, when they go home, they are openly in Tokyo. Even in the dub, so... All the background music has been changed, as we're familiar with happening with anime.
Yeah.
Unlike 4Kids' music changes, the stuff here is actually really good. It's has a lot of a different tone than the Japanese version, but I don't think it's worse than the Japanese music. I'd say it's about equal. It's just a different interpretation. And it's fun. Where 4Kids tended to fill any moment of silence or ambience with extra music, Saban have opted to fill it with dialogue. Anytime nobody on screen is talking, they will fill that time with chatter from any characters in the scene who happen to be off screen right now.
So they don't have to animate it.
Yeah, basically. Because they've only got the animation that's been done to work with.
Right.
So if they want someone to be talking and nobody on screen is moving their lips, they just put the voices in the mouths of whoever's not on screen right now. The scene where Taichi is looking around the jungle after first arriving. Here's the Japanese audio from that shot. And now here's the English audio from that shot.
The vegetation is lush, but the soil appears rather common.
Nothing is common in Digiworld.
That's right, Ty. You are in the Digiworld.
Like, that doesn't even contribute to the episode in any meaningful way. Why bother?
I know. It just feels like they felt the need to fill as much time as they could with dialogue.
We can't let the children's mind drift in any way.
Kuwagamon in the original makes an insect-like chittering sound. In the dub, he makes stock dinosaur noises.
Awful.
It's very strange. I think they're like edited elephant sounds or something.
This is a big scary guy. He's making big dinosaur noises.
You know, there's that shot where all the Digimon hop down and in unison they're like, "We are Digimon!"
Mm-hmm.
In the original, after that, it cuts back to the kids and then it cuts back to the Digimon just smiling. For some reason in the dub, that second shot where the Digimon are just smiling reuses animation from the first shot to have them repeat that they are Digimon.
Yes, Digimon!
Why?
I don't know why. It's strange. And then the following scene, where originally each of the Digimon recited their own name in turn. Instead, the Digimon now give kind of a sales pitch for what a Digimon is.
We're kind of cute. And very loyal.
With beautiful hair. Or maybe no hair at all. We can be funny. Ha! And adorable.
I think it's an improvement over just hearing all their names again, but it very much had the feel of like, this is what was written in the pamphlet they sent out to investors.
Right.
The part where the Digimon evolve, which by the way is called Digivolving in the dub, plays just the same kind of instrumental that the rest of the show has, instead of Braveheart. There's no equivalent to Braveheart.
Like there's an equivalent to Braveheart in existence.
Right. Because the thing is, for anyone who doesn't know, in the show, whenever a Digimon digivolves, in the original, it plays Braveheart, and the opening guitar riff of Braveheart is synced to the animation. It wasn't in this episode, but it will be in the future. And then once they're done evolving, like the evolution stops when the intro to Braveheart finishes, and then the actual song continues over the fight that follows. And it fits really well, and it really gets you pumped for the fight. So it's kind of a shame that they lost that. There's like no equivalent to that here.
Mm-hmm.
In later episodes of the dub, it will just play the Digimon theme song over the evolution part, and then it will just cut off when the actual fight happens, which I think is a shame. It's fine, but I think it loses a lot of the power that Braveheart had.
Yeah. So it just plays like different music.
Yeah,
or
just
the dead silence.
just regular, just the same kind of music that the rest of the episode has. The same instrumental stuff.
Koromon, Digivolve too? Agumon!
Yokomon! Digivolve to Beomon! Multimon! Digivolve to Tentomon!
Like I said, it's fine, but if you watch the original, Braveheart really has this like emotional through line to it that goes into the fight, and you feel it in a different way.
Koromon Shinka! Agumon! Yokomon Shinka! Yomon!
Mochimon Shinka! Tentomon! Tsunomon Shinka! Dabumon!
It pumps you up more. You're more like, yeah, get him! You know?
Yeah, I've never even watched Digimon, and I get pumped when I hear Braveheart.
Yeah. And there's much better uses of it later on. Izzy's constant use of computer puns gets kind of grating by the end, in my opinion. Like when they finish off Kuwagamon, he says,
They made vaporware out of him.
I love it. I think it's iconic.
yeah, it would have been fine on its own. After a full episode of him, I was kind of like, okay, Izzy, we get it. You like computers.
You're a nerd.
For some reason, this is the last change I noticed. When Kuwagamon cracks the edge of the cliff off, the dub splices in a couple of reaction shots of the kids from earlier on in the episode. I don't know why they would do this.
Just in case we're unsure about how they feel falling to their death.
But it wasn't even the right emotion. They were like angry shots. It was like an angry reaction where they're like, oh, you grrr.
That just reminds me of the difference between Japanese and American Kirby box art.
Yeah.
Just put some angry eyebrows on them and sell them to America.
And that's it. That's the end of the dub.
We did it. We listened to 1,000,000 voice credits.
Let's talk about the legacy of this.
Yeah.
Digimon Adventure, I believe, is the most successful Digimon media of all time, which is why it's the one they keep going back to. The next show they made was a sequel series to this, but then they did a couple of completely unrelated shows. They did a few of them. just complete reboots of the Digimon franchise. And I don't think any of them ever did as well. And then a couple of them, Tai just kind of reappears in. You'll get like 20 episodes into the series and suddenly Tai shows up with Agumon for one episode and then goes away again. Then they made Digimon Adventure Tri. Then they made Last Evolution. They've now rebooted Digimon Adventure. There's currently a 2020 remake of it that's airing.
Well, it was so successful the first time, we need to repackage it 17 more times.
Yeah.
And make all of the money.
They actually made a PSP game in 2013 that retells the story of this. It's an RPG where you relive the events of the show. And this show pretty much made Agumon the mascot of Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
Before this show, Tyrannomon was kind of the mascot. And they still come back to Tyrannomon sometimes because he was apparently the first Digimon created. But once Tai was given Agumon as his partner Digimon, that really became the Digimon from then on. He's kind of the Pikachu of the series.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the same way Pikachu became the mascot as well. Once the anime protagonist had one, suddenly it was the mascot where it hadn't been before.
Yeah, no one cares about Rhydon.
No. No, I keep forgetting that Rhydon was the first Pokemon. I mean, the mascot at one point was going to be Clefairy for Pokemon.
Oh yeah, that horrible talking Clefairy.
Yeah. I like this show. You know that about me already.
I do. That's one of the few things I know about you.
I'm a huge fan of this show. Overall, I don't think they're comparable. I think that Pokemon and Digimon are very different beasts that were trying to do very different things. But it's impossible to get away from comparing them because of the similarities they do have and the timing of both shows being released.
Yeah, we were alive in the 90s when they were both coming to America at the same time, and you had to pick sides.
Yeah.
Obviously, I picked Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. I kind of didn't pick. I just loved both.
It's forbidden. It's a love that cannot be.
Overall, I think Digimon Adventure is the better series as far as TV shows go. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Digimon Adventure had a planned ending that they just went to. There is no real filler in Digimon Adventure. They just tell the story they had to tell. And then initially they left it at that. They've come back a lot of times and done unnecessary sequels, in my opinion. I don't think any of the sequels were necessary. I kind of haven't liked any of the sequels as much as I like the original. I am of the opinion they should have just left it alone. As much as I think Digimon is the better series overall, Pokemon has a way stronger opening than this. The opening to Pokemon, the first episode of Pokemon, I still think, and I think I said this when we looked at it, I think it's one of the strongest first episodes of any show I've ever seen.
It's a great first episode. It'll make you cry the first time you even learn what a Pikachu is.
Yeah, it's really good. And this show does not capture that in as effective a way. I think I know that this show is worth watching because I've seen all of it. I think if I just saw this episode alone and then never came back, I wouldn't see a reason to come back, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that they are introducing too many characters at once.
Yes, they spend the whole episode just giving us names. Nothing happens.
Yeah, I think that they make up for that, I will say. Because the next 7 episodes, they do one character per episode, and they really delve into that character and tell us who that character is, which is much better. I think maybe it would have been better if this episode had opened with them, being sucked into the digital world. And then for the rest of this episode, it was just Tai and Koromon on their own, eventually evolving to Agumon. And then the next episode, we'd seen what the next kid was doing during that time, and then they'd introduce them that way, you know?
Yeah.
One by one.
I do think it would be easier to swallow if they cut it up for us like that.
Yeah.
But I would still be interested to watch the rest of the series, I think. I liked the little taste of it I got.
Oh, good. Do you have a favorite of the 7 Digimon that we saw here?
Tokomon.
Tokomon?
He's so cute.
Did we see his teeth here? I can't remember.
We saw his teeth.
Okay, good. Yes, for anybody who doesn't know, Tokomon is a very, very cute Digimon who sometimes rolls his entire mouth back to show like a set of shark teeth, I think, in his mouth.
Just terrifying, horrible teeth.
Did you get a good look at what Tokomon evolved into at the end?
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
No, you didn't like Patamon?
Oh, I thought you meant like the very final form.
Oh, no. Oh, you're talking about Angemon.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about the child forms that they turned into at the end of the episode.
I did like him. He's cute.
What about of those ones? Do you have a favorite of those ones?
It might be the white and blue stripy one.
Gabumon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Gabumon's cool. Gabumon used to be my favorite when I was younger. I think now... I think my favorites... I have a really hard time picking just one. But I'm very partial to Agumon. Because I think he's just a real cute dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty cute.
I'm also a big fan of Tentamon, the bug. I think he's great. You know, I never liked her as a kid, but the last time I watched it, I was really into Palmon, the plant one. She's pretty awesome.
I like what it turns into.
Togemon, the cactus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a big punching cactus.
I think you'd like the form after that as well. We don't see any further than the champion forms in the opening, but there are more forms beyond that.
Oh.
And I think you'd like... Palmon basically becomes a magical girl.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Digimon. Digital monsters.
Digimon are the champions.
Where did you hear that?
Through the grapevine.
So we'll come back and look at more of this. I think you'll like this show. There's a lot of Satans in it.
That. You've been telling me that for 20 years, and I believe you.
I encourage consumption of Digimon content.
You proselytize for Digimon.
There's a Digimon fitness wearable out now. I want it so bad. I love Pokemon so much. And I love Digimon exactly as much, but for different reasons.
Yeah. That's fair.
Thing is, with Pokemon, I love all of the monsters, which isn't true of Digimon. There's a lot of Digimon I don't like. But with Digimon, I enjoy the gamble. Because with Digimon, a lot of the time, you don't really know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that really interesting. The fact that every Digimon can become one of, at least 2 things. Usually more. Something I find very interesting.
Plan your evolution.
You can, but it takes so much micromanaging to be 100% sure what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like to just play the game and see what happens.
I'm just looking at pictures of Gabumon now.
He's pretty cool. He becomes a werewolf eventually.
I do like werewolves.
Yeah. Digimon has always been the goth Pokemon.
Yeah, there's several Satans.
Yeah. Most of the villains the kids will be fighting in this show are various kinds of Satan, various levels of Satan.
Various flavors of Satan.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. How do you feel about Digimon? Tell us which one is your favorite. You know, I said which one is my favorite of what's in this show, but I didn't say what my most favorite Digimon is.
Who is it?
It's Demi-Meramon, sometimes known as Petit Meramon. He's just a little fireball with a sewed-up mouth.
Oh, you've shown me him before.
He's great. So tell us your favorite Digimon in the comments, or on Twitter if there's no comments on the platform you're watching on or listening on.
Please just talk to us.
Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Like and subscribe. Click on that bell. If you'd like to support us with money that you have, go to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and you can get some outtakes from when we were recording this. You can also find us at coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub or on Twitter at sbreakfastfc. I'm Skull Pirate Mike, and you can find me at Skull Pirate Mike in places like Twitch and Twitter and the internet.
I'll be lurking around somewhere. I'm just Mike's shadow. I'm a parasite that lives under his hat.
Bye! I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry about a lot of things.
List them.
No.